Senior day in Ann Arbor, 8 seniors, including Lars Eckenrode, who's pretty much started every game since he got there. Riley Woods with a hug from Shaka Daly, a talented senior class indeed, walking out with their parents. 7 of them there, 8 featured as part of the senior class for the Michigan Wolverines on senior day. And our State Farm State of Success, the Maryland Terrapins, not only #1 in team in the country, but for 6 straight weeks, they've held that position.
And they've got the 3rd most productive scoring offense in the country. Michigan will have their hands full this afternoon.
Michigan in blue from head to toe. Your visitors from College Park in all white. Emmanuel Corval. And just to get you fully up to speed, food poisoning, according to Sasho Soroski, the head coach of the Maryland Terrapins, has hit 3 players, including 2 starters, Sebastian Elney and Eric Williamson, as well as their super sub off the bench, DJ Reeves. None of them expected to play today, as Emmanuel Corval, the junior from Herndon, Virginia, will start for Elney, and it'll be Keegan Kelly, the freshman from Baltimore, who will start on that left side. But Sasho Soroski making no excuses. He said that's part of the reason why there's games where we play 20 players.
And already you're seeing what they're going to depend on from Keegan Kelly as he releases out of that diamond in the midfield, the long ball down the flank and the chance to break through the press of the Wolverines.
So the Maryland Terrapins undefeated. They've already won the regular season by virtue of last week's win over Wisconsin. What a game that was. Michigan also has locked up the #8 spot. They'll play Rutgers next weekend in College Park and then face Maryland on Sunday if they can get by Rutgers. So these 2 teams could see each other 1 week from today. That's Emmanuel Corval. Checks all the way back. Dewey Adsum, Cody Albrecht. Even some players that are on the field today were questionable, and one more sub, or one more starter that's not in there, Mark Sadic, who, for my point, with 6 goals and 9 assists, could be the midfielder of the year. He's also out with a muscle injury. So you see the yellow line right there, folks. That is for the women's game that will be held right after this one, as Michigan and Wisconsin get set for the Big Ten women's soccer tournament. They're going to play on a smaller field, thus the yellow lines. Pay no attention as far as this game.
Rosansky with his back to goal. There's no reason why Tyler Anderson has to come in hard from behind. Let him play negative soccer and keep him standing up. Keegan Kelly, he's got that 1 goal from early on in the season, Dean, against USF. Hasn't seen a lot of playing time this season.
It's from Baltimore, that great McDonough program. 1 bounce. There's Evan Laurel. Laurel split time 1 year with the redheaded wonder Adam Grinwis, but last 2 years it's been his job. There's Emmanuel Corval. Corval perhaps best remembered for hitting the winning penalty kick for Maryland in the Big Ten men's soccer tournament last year to knock off Indiana and advance to face Ohio State in the final.
That was a late night in Columbus, wasn't it, as we covered both those semifinals last year?
Laurel boots it long. Here's Hallahan. We've seen Hallahan score a brilliant goal right here on the Big Ten Network. He had a rocket shot against smiling Bob Warming in the Penn State Nittany Lions. This talented freshman will get some votes for Freshman of the Year.
Yeah, a member of the Irish Youth National Team program. He's very comfortable with staying wide on the field, and he offers a nice bit of dimension in that regard for Michigan.
There's Cody Niedermeyer wearing the captain's armband. Maryland's been tested of late to keep that streak alive. They beat American 2-1, Hofstra 2-1, and beat Delaware 3-2 in double overtime. So not exactly a walk in the park here late in the season, but the team also was dealing with injuries. Cornali didn't play in a couple of those games. Here's Atua Henne on the right side. The Michigan faithful liking it here. Set back in, deflected out, corner kick Michigan.
This is really great from Michigan. They're keeping the pressure on defensively, and it's creating a couple of chances for them in the attacking third. Great pressure, and then the through ball to Atua Henne, who he will go to any corner flag or right up the middle. He's got such drive and desire.
There's Atua Henne. Eyes on him, flicked a little bit too far, and that's Robbie Mertz, who has really stepped up as the attacking central midfielder for Michigan, and that's Hallahan. Andre Morris. Morris, one of those 8 seniors celebrating senior night. Morris and Eckenrode have been staples back there. Riley Woods used to be a staple, but he's so good offensively, they moved him up that left side, Chris Dorn.
Yeah, and it made a lot of sense. He's also, Riley Woods is great on set pieces too. He's a specialist with the way he serves the ball. Had 5 assists last year. He's got 4 assists this year, hoping for a little more from him in the last couple of weeks of the season.
Yeah, it was Riley Woods who had that great service to Francis Atua Henne to score that high flyer, as you called it, against Penn State. Robbie Mertz. That's what Shaka Daly's talking about. More and more comfort in that midfield position. Doesn't lose the ball. Hallahan, but Cody Niedermeyer first.
This is good from Niedermeyer. This is good from Maryland's goalkeeper, but it's a bit of a concern too. Michigan is spraying balls into the attacking third and hoping for something at the other end.
Deflected there, saved by Laurel.
But that's a great sequence from Corva. A real nifty touch to get away from defensive pressure and get that shot off.
Corval, nice trap, just to check it back, looking sharp right there to find Kelly. Atua Henne is inside, deflected, goal, Michigan! Robbie Mertz, the young man who looks like he's 15 with a big smile, gets the goal.
I don't think Michigan is hopeful. I think Michigan has got this game plan that they're going to stick with, and if they manage it through the afternoon, they'll be very, very good in the end. Hallahan inside to Atua Henne, who looks to lock and load, but it gets blocked by Crognale. And there's Mertz to get the deflection and clean the play up. Atua Henne's so nifty on the turn, and as he powers through, he takes a touch that gets away from him. It gives Crognale plenty of time to block that shot, but Mertz is there to clean things up.
Robbie Mertz, a BTN standout. He scored in that 5-1 win in Michigan's last game against Oakland, and he scores here. Mertz now with 4 goals and 2 assists, 10 points, second only to Atua Henne. And Shaka Daly could not say enough good things about, since moving him into that number 10 position behind the front 3, it has changed the attack for Michigan. And Shaka Daly also telling us we will not sit back and be intimidated by Maryland's record. Their records don't play on Sunday, we do. And they're playing right now.
There's a lot of spirit right now in this Ann Arbor Soccer Stadium. It's senior day. You're saying goodbye to 8 of your buddies. The parents are in the house. There were even tears during the senior ceremony. Not just from the parents, from the players, Dean. There's a lot of passion right now that's being displayed by Michigan.
Let's see how Maryland responds. That's Campbell on the other side. If you're just joining us, Maryland missing 3 starters and a key sub to food poisoning and to the Sadich muscle injury. But that's Michigan's first goal all season against a ranked opponent. They tied USF 0-0, lost to Indiana and Notre Dame 2-0. Indiana was number 3 at the time. Notre Dame was number 1 before Maryland arrived on the scene.
This was before the goal scored. Big ball from the back. Corva is going to get on the other side of this and take that nifty touch around Lars Eckenrode with the shot and the save by Laro. Good speed from the young player up top. He's got 22 appearances as a junior. I mean, 22 in his career. So he hasn't seen a bulk of playing time.
Knocked out of bounds. There you see Billy Stevens.
Just a bulldog. Just love the way Billy Stevens plays with such passion on that right back slot for Michigan.
He'll let it all go for sure. Stevens and Eckenrode, as tough as you can possibly be in that back line. Hallahan. We saw the magic of Hallahan earlier in the season. He's showing it now.
Dean, you've already talked about the quarterfinals next week and how this game really does not impact anything for Maryland. They will, if they were to lose, would lose that undefeated season recognition, which is strong. There are 2 teams that are undefeated in the top 25 this year. Denver is the other one.
Stevens with the right foot. Cody Niedermeyer has it right now.
But for Michigan, they've got a chance to put an exclamation mark on a season that hasn't entirely gone their way and put a performance in where they handle the business from box to box, as Shaka Daly likes to say, and then put themselves in a nice position to be positive going into the quarterfinals next week.
Maryland back across looking for Gordon Wild, as we have not said Gordon Wild's name, and that's hard to believe. He leads the Big Ten with 14 goals and 3 assists. The transfer from USC Upstate, born in Germany, came over to the States to go to college. Last year he was the ASUN Freshman of the Year with 16 goals and 2 assists. He just jumps into the Big Ten, one of the best leagues in the country, and he's got 14 goals and 3 assists.
Yeah, he's so dangerous, and we've seen how quickly he can load that ball up and let fly toward goal.
There's a player down for Michigan. Looks like Marcelo Borges, a sophomore from Kearney, New Jersey. Borges is on that U20 player list. He'll have to come off as the trainers tend to him. Borges with a hug there for Robbie Mertz, the sophomore from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
He's saying goodbye to his players. I don't think he expects to be back in.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Chris. So now you wonder if they move Riley Woods back to left back. As coming into the game, here's a guy who's on fire and also a senior, Yaman Salul, the senior from Grand Blanc, Michigan. He scored 2 goals in that 5-1 win over Oakland as he finishes his career at Michigan very strong. He's got med school on his mind for the next step.
We talked about how important Riley Woods is to the left side of the attack and coming in underneath Francis Atuahene. Not that Salul isn't capable. He's got 3 goals and an assist this season. But it's going to be really interesting to see if there's anything lacking with this change and Woods going to that left back slot. In hindsight, great that Michigan's got that 1 goal. Still a lot of soccer to be played, and on top of that, you're playing against one of the most effective attacking players in the country in Gordon Wild, and a very productive offensive team.
There's Shaka Daly in his 5th season at Michigan, 36, 41, and 15 overall. He did lead Michigan to the NCAAs in his 1st season, coming over after 12 seasons at his alma mater in Providence. He played at Providence, as I said, built that team up, and of course after they left, Providence went to the College Cup in 2015. In fact, Shaka went to a couple Providence games along the way. As Shaka Daly taking over for, I'll call him legendary because he built the program and he was a quote machine. A pleasure to be around Steve Burns.
Oh, absolutely. As much a cheerleader as a coach, the way he sold his program to get this facility built. Here's
Eckenrode trying to play it into space. See Salou up there now, and it's with Cody Niedermeyer. Niedermeyer. That's Emmanuel Corval. He's got that height. Had it for a moment. Look at Mertz. Robbie Mertz, just one of those players, fun to watch. Reminds you of the Maloney brothers just a little bit with his stature. Talking about Connor and Austin for Penn State.
They've got a critical game this afternoon at Northwestern. And if the Nittany Lions are able to get 3 points on a victory there, and things go their way in the Michigan State-Indiana matchup, Bob Warming could be ranked second going into the tournament.
We'll have that update at halftime on all those scores. Player goes down. Referee says, please stand up. Please stand up, as Jake Rosansky, who won a national championship with Virginia, going down.
Rosansky on the dribble. He's got 3 players paying attention to him. The quick 1-2 inside with Corval, and there's nothing there.
Eckenrode had just a little bit of his jersey, but that wasn't why Rosansky went down.
Should mention that in the history of the program, Michigan has never defeated a #1 ranked team.
That could change the day, leading 1-0 with a lot more soccer to go as Hallahan drills it across. Niedermeyer perfectly positioned. And how about Sasho Swarovski, 24th season at Maryland, 2 national titles, 8 college cups, 13 conference titles, make it 14 now, and 21 times to the tourney, 8 college cups. And Sasho Swarovski's got a big crew here from Windsor, Canada, where his family is. And with that, we send our best to his mother, who actually was hit by a vehicle crossing the road in Windsor earlier this week. She's still in intensive care, but stable, Sasho told me today, as our prayers are with the 83-year-old mother of Sasho Swarovski, who did say a ton of his family and friends from Windsor, Canada are at the game. We saw him as we started the show, but certainly want to wish Sasho's mom the best.
Yeah, positively. It's heart-wrenching when you've got that kind of a concern weighing heavy on your shoulders. Blessings to the Swarovski family.
Campbell. Cody Albrick, your holding mid. Sulidanka. Gordon Wild. There's Riley Woods now. Back at that left back position. Gordon Wild over to Corval. Boy, Gordon Wild, just a different level kind of player. Not just scoring goals, but doing what he did just there. Going the other way, though, Hallahan. Mertz. Now Stevens, the right back. Danka did well to come over in support. Now Laurel to Stevens. Chris, I'll say it again. Shaka Daly said we will not sit back and be intimidated by their record. Their records don't play on Sunday. I got the feeling you like that comment.
Oh, I do. I love it. That's the kind of spirit you need from your leader. And we know that Coach Daly is a fierce competitor himself. Got to keep that going for the team as well.
Yeah, when we saw this Michigan team beat Penn State 2-0 a few weeks ago, we mentioned that this was a team you didn't really want to face, but since then they lost a few more. They got to win back against Oakland. They were humming that game.
Yeah, the month of October, though, hasn't been very good. Yes, they opened it up with a victory against Ohio State 2-0. They're hoping to close out October with a victory against the #1 ranked Terrapins. Off to a good start so far, but you and I both know that Maryland, despite some of the illnesses and injuries, is a deep squad.
Atua Henny goes hard for it. Cornali got the ball, though, and the referee saying all balls. Atua Henny goes down. Kelly turns. Mertz Corval. Now Cody Albrecht. What a pickup he's been for Sasho Soroski. The transfer from St. John's as Dewey Etzem goes down.
This is Atuahene and Alex Cronali. Sakes alive. Now Atuahene is not in possession there, but that could be interpreted as a scissors tackle coming in.
He left his feet. So we saw that he got the ball, but he left his feet. And you leave your feet with those cleats in the air, you're right, that's open for a different kind of interpretation. Chris Doran. Here's Wild with that left foot. Man, he does not need a very big window.
No, he doesn't. He does such a nice job with his first touch to settle the ball. And he's got such great flexibility in his hips. He actually looks like a mature pro with the way he's able to simply adjust. And next time through, we'll want to get over that ball just a bit.
Gordon Wild, you gotta believe the runaway winner of the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year. Those 14 goals and 3 assists. Not since former Mac Herman Award winner Patrick Mullins, and before him Jason Gary, has Sasho Soroski had just an out-and-out goal scorer like Gordon Wild. They've continued to win, but it's been more by committee. But when they had Mullins, and then of course Jason Gary scored 60 goals, 44 in his junior and senior year, 22-22.
Just unbelievable. You know, one of the things that Sasha has talked to us about, and as we've visited campus and watched training sessions, he runs his program like a pro program. And the players coming in are accustomed to it and expect it.
Atuahene to Hallahan. Support from Stevens. Hallahan deflected, and it's in. Salul was there, maybe Hallahan. Either way, it's 2-0 Michigan.
Well, he's got a tremendous amount of composure over the ball. He is a right-sided player who favors his left foot. Look how many touches he takes with his left foot. And then the final one. I think there was just enough traffic in there that the ball was lost by Niedermeyer on the shot. Yeah, I don't know that that was deflected. Salul, of course, would love to have the stat, but Hallahan knows how well he struck that ball.
Yeah, you got to give it to Hallahan, and it's Atuahene who dropped the ball to Hallahan, as Atuahene now has 3 assists. Hallahan with 4 goals. He loves the lights of the Big Ten Network. Mr. Hallahan has now scored again on BTN, and it's 2-0 Michigan. Campbell, who got the start, is fouled, is tracking back there is Tyler Anderson.
It's his 50th appearance for the University of Michigan. Tyler Anderson, great career for the Wolverines.
Tyler Anderson, a senior. He's gonna get an MBA and plans on a career in brand marketing. Here's Rosansky. Transfer from Virginia. Trying to slide one in.
When you've got a goal scorer like Gordon Wild who can bait the defense and stand in an offside spot and perhaps fool Evan Loro at the same time, you have the chance to go near post, and that's what Rosansky does. Boy, he hits this ball well. And it's dropping, just not soon enough.
Jake Rosansky, 3 goals and 6 assists. One of those goals coming in double overtime in the final minutes at Rutgers. When it looked like Rutgers had actually won the game at the end of regulation, they called off the goal from Jason Wright. They go to double overtime, and you thought Rutgers had turned the corner, but since then, the Scarlet Knights still without a victory. It'll be the Scarlet Knights facing this Michigan team next weekend to get a shot at playing Maryland on Sunday. The quarterfinal will be featured here on the Big Ten Network.
That game on Friday night, the 8-9 game at Ludwig Field in Maryland.
Samuels, it was Samuels who was beat by Hallahan, but it's worth pointing out that Andrew Samuels has also missed some time in the last few games, as has Cronali, as Sasho Sorosky basically saying almost everybody on his team has some sort of injury, which has been part of the reason for the close calls.
Got an offside call here. We'll go back to the goal by that man, Jack Hallahan. He's on the right side, but watch his touches, all with the left foot. 1, 2, 5 touches, and then he gets that 6th touch to finish things up. You don't tell whether a player favors one foot or the other when he's placed on the field. It's when he's got the ball that you understand which side he favors.
I think he favors the left.
Yeah, and he's good with it too.
Yeah, he is. That was struck well. An excellent call too by Chris Dorn, pointing out that Salul really, just by lifting his leg, kind of prevented Cody Niedermeyer from seeing the ball, and thus it found in the back of the net. It looked like Niedermeyer was frozen really by Salul's movement. Here's an opportunity though for Rosansky again. Deflected is Eckenrode. He can hammer you. He'll take down Rosansky. It'll be a free kick opportunity for Maryland.
We've seen what he can do standing over a dead ball. And now an opportunity to get the big bodies in for Maryland.
Oh, I thought they actually called a foul on Eckenrode. They didn't. It's just a corner kick. So Maryland down 2-0. Jake Rosansky. Excellent lofted ball, trying to find Wild. It was Anderson who got a piece of it. Robbie Mertz and Jack Hallahan with the goals. It's 2-0 Michigan over the #1 team in the country. Wild back across, and it'll find Evan Laurel.
Yeah, and Alex Cronali is disappointed that Wild didn't play that ball out to the top of the 6. He was ahead of his defender and could have put that ball on frame with his head.
Evan Laurel bombs it long. Maryland has allowed 5 first-half goals all year coming into this one. 2 allowed today.
Cronali's point would be we have better odds with an angle that I'm looking at than the angle you're looking at from the near post.
Alex Cronali's actually missed some time in the last few games, dealing with a calf injury.
And one of the things Sasho Sorosky said with his absence in the last few games is he felt like the defensively Maryland was a little slow and not as assertive in the open field with their defensive decision making.
Tua Henney pushes it to the left side. Woods over Salul. Hallahan tries to close. Samuels gets a piece of it. Emmanuel Corval, who gets the start because of the food poisoning to Sebastian Elney. Same food poisoning for Eric Williamson and their super sub DJ Reeves, who is an assist maker. That with Amar Sadic, who could be the Big Ten midfielder of the year. Those are big-time players. I mean, Elney and Williamson, all Big Ten freshmen from a year ago. Elney, second team all Big Ten.
Well, I think and we'll talk about this at some point, as Hallahan going 1v1 on the outside with Samuels.
Cody Albrecht taking down Hallahan.
Hallahan's got to be reined in if you're a Maryland defender. That's not the way to do it.
Hallahan with the left. Interesting ball. I think he may have mishit that one. He was definitely trying to put a little magic dust on that service.
But you're talking about Amar Sadic. If you look at the numbers, Dean, the numbers are very, very close if you're just a numbers guy when it comes to deciding which players should be recognized for postseason awards. In the midfield, I've got Christopher Mueller from Wisconsin with 6 goals and 9 assists. He's the same as Amar Sejdic in his performance for Maryland.
Here's Hallahan. So we told you that Cronali came in banged up, and also Andrew Samuels. So Samuels will go out now. That'll mean they'll move Cronali. They'll keep Cronali in the center, but they'll move Sulidanka outside. And Donovan Pines, who, like Cronali, 6'5", and there you see him right there, because our Big Ten Network crew is fantastic. He'll check in. So Sasho, I mean, he's really late in the season, juggling a lot of things right now with food poisoning and injuries.
Just keep in mind, they get a week to heal up from all of this. And then they're back to, if you're a Maryland fan, performing the way they have throughout the season, and that's as a #1 team in the country.
So Donovan Pines, the freshman from Clarksville, Maryland. You'll see Pines and Cronali, 6'5" and 6'5", side by side now. Gordon and Wild trying to stay with it. Eckenrode comes in.
Yeah, a little extracurricular.
And Eckenrode has a few words there for Keegan Kelly, the freshman. And
this is when Kelly comes in. The whistle's already blown. Kelly steps in on Serta. And Serta objects.
Michigan, not the kind of team that's going to back down, so Keegan, somebody might want to remind Keegan Kelly where he is right now. You're in the home of Lars Eckenrode and Billy Stevens. There's the young man, Keegan Kelly, who Sasho said played really well in the last game against Delaware, a 3-2 winner in double overtime.
Keep in mind, Rosansky was just off the mark barely about 5 minutes ago on another restart from the same spot.
So Rosansky's going to try it again. Why not? Same result, though, almost the same spot again, Chris Doran.
Yeah, and you said it, Dean, same result in terms of where it lifts. Although I think he was closer to the post the last, well, geez, oh, Pete, no. Almost exact. I know if I'm Michigan, I don't think I want to give him a third attempt at that shot from that spot.
Great point. Michigan's had 4 shots, they finished 2. Maryland's had 6 shots, they finished none. Here's Pines. Stevens, the right back, pushing forward. Robbie Mertz scored the first goal. Atuahene will leave it for Woods. Woods looking for Salul. Woods just does not serve a bad ball from that left flank.
And he does it with his first touch because he's got the vision that Salul is making the run into the box. First touch, whips that ball in, does a really nice job because he spots his target early.
Chris, I think it was the holding mid, Cody Albrecht, who just does all the dirty things. The piano carrier, to use an overused expression, who got back there to flick it away. Here's Wild. Eckenrode. Kelly, and Wild will get it back. Wild is in the 18, serving, and he'll pop it right to Evan Laurel.
It's the second time Wild has been in that spot. They neutralized Wild and then they relaxed, and they can't do that. Gordon Wild will make you pay. Michigan has got to be careful there.
Atuahene with a little touch, and he'll go out of bounds. Francis Atuahene. Boy, what a breakout freshman campaign for Atuahene, part of that Right to Dream Academy coming over from Ghana. 10 goals last year. 6 goals and now 3 assists to lead the team this year. He's so talented that there were times last year, a couple times this year, where we felt like he was just a step ahead of the rest of his teammates. I don't feel that anymore. I feel like Mertz is in tune, Hallahan's in tune, the rest of the Wolverines are in tune with him.
Yeah, I think too, though, the challenge with Francis has been for Shaka Daly is where do you put him on the field where he can get, where you can get the most out of him. Last year mostly as a midfielder, this year as a front runner, up top by himself, having to traffic through big defenders. It's really difficult to do.
Cronali can serve a big ball. Not big enough. Hallahan nifty behind the back pass, trying to find Yaman Salul. Wild had one thing in mind when he got the ball there, but it was Serta knocking it away. Still loose in front, it'll fall. Looked like a handball. Referee says no way. And here comes Atua Henny. Atua Henny can gobble up some real estate. Nobody wants to bite on Sir Francis. Atua Henny again. Dewey at him, look at him. Can't bite on him, he sends it across in front! And it should have been 3-0 as Francis Atua Henny. What service from number 10.
Boy, it starts with him doing exactly what you said, taking up real estate and advancing Michigan downfield. Then he gets some teammates to come in and play with him. He gets the ball back, 1v1 versus Dewey Atsum, and that cross ball, far side Hallahan is looking at a wide open net. Boy, that's really nice, patient, attacking soccer from that man.
Michigan making another sub is another one of their seniors, Maiko Capitula, getting into the game. Gordon Wild. You know, if Maryland can pull one back here before halftime, they'll feel like they can win it by 3 or 4 goals. They're that kind of mentality Maryland has. Sulidanka back to Cody Albrecht. Albrecht looking to find Campbell.
I'll tell you what, this right side for Michigan is really tough. You got an Irishman and you got a Long Islander. And those two guys with their attitudes, there's the Long Islander right there, Billy Stevens. They're not going to let you through. I really love the way this right side is played. And then you got to deal with him after you get through the Long Islander or the Irish guy. This is awesome. Billy Stevens, look at that. Oh, no whistle there. We're shoulder to shoulder. We're chasing the ball. Man, there's some spirit coming from the Maize and Blue this afternoon.
Lars Eckenrode and Billy Stevens. Sasho Soroski admitted he was concerned about the physical play. Michigan, they'll let you know they're back there.
You know, we saw quite a bit of it in the game against Indiana when Michigan was hosting the Hoosiers up here, and the Hoosiers at the time were ranked either 4, 5, or 6 in the country. They lost that game, but what they showed, what they demonstrated in their grit and determination was exceptional.
Donovan Pines will come over with the shield.
Field's a little soft, Dean. It's probably late to be talking about it, but the field is soft. There was rain this morning in Ann Arbor. The footing does not appear to have been impacted, but the ball is going to probably seize up a bit more often than not. Guys have got to put good pace on every pass.
That's Connor Smith, who is checked in for Sasho Soroski, wearing number 7. He had the touch a moment ago, and he's taken off to make a run down the spine. It could end up back with Connor Smith. Let's see if Albrecht finds him.
This is better from Maryland. They're knocking the ball around. They were a little too direct for my tastes early on in this game. But they do that. They put you under pressure defensively, and then they pin you in on your half of the field.
Jorge Calix has also checked in. Albrecht, what a ball. Albrecht finding Wild. Wild can shoot from here, and he will shoot. Deflected. And Evan Laurel has it. That's like Steph Curry crossing midcourt. That is range right there for Gordon Wild.
It absolutely is. Albrecht paying off his attacker with a great ball through traffic. And Albrecht just doesn't get his perfect touch he's looking for from that range. Wild, I'm sorry, doesn't get what he's looking for in terms of the right touch. Looked like he had a little bit of field on that strike.
Chris, the fourth save for that man, number 1, Evan Laurel, the junior from South River, New Jersey. He wore number 25 when Adam Grinris was here. How acrobatic was that young man in goal?
It's fun to watch. This league has had great goalkeepers over the years.
Iman Salul coming off that brace. And that 5-1 win over Oakland. Chris Doran talked about what a day this is. 2 through 6. Still up in the air for your seeds for the Big Ten tournament. Only 1, 7, 8, and 9 have been determined. And Michigan State's at Indiana right now. Penn State's at Northwestern, and Ohio State is at Wisconsin. Rutgers has played all 8 of their Big Ten regular season games. They're the number 9 seed, finishing 0-6-2. Jorge Calix. Gordon Wild again. Wild with so many players out because of injury or food poisoning may try to do something on his own. Calix. Now Connor Smith. Gordon Wild's wide open on the right side, calling for it. Now they'll drop it to him. Flag will stay down. Wild has it. Wild across the end line. Taken out. Here comes Francis Atuahene. We saw him make a 60, 70-yard run earlier, as nobody wants to dive in on Atuahene because he'll make you pay.
Michael Capitula, not sure exactly where Atuahene needed him in that run up the midfield. Probably would have been better if Capitula had pulled back, gotten a square ball, released some of the pressure that Atuahene was running into.
Michigan comes in 3-9-4, and they've scored first in all 3 of those wins, so things trending positively for the Maize and Blue right now. Hallahan. The referee says play on. Boy, now that was interesting, as now Hallahan takes down Rosansky. Little WWF.
I think Hallahan may have a point here that he was being held down. Rosansky right there. That's where the flag should, the referee stand, and he's giving it to Maryland. But it's a dangerous play, playing the ball on the ground. So, Michigan State has just tied their game with Indiana. They're 1-1. Ryan Sierakowski drawn level.
All right, so Michigan State and Indiana are tied right now, and you take a look at it, Michigan State vying for that so important number 2 seed. Penn State is at Northwestern. They can jump up with a victory if those 2 teams tie. It's pretty exciting. It always is. Usually that number 1 seed is still in play, but Maryland shut that door last week in that win over John Trask and the Wisconsin Badgers. That was a fantastic game, though, as Wisconsin showing that not only in the Big Ten, they're now in the top 25 of the NCAA, hoping they get in.
Yeah, Wisconsin's got a game that starts an hour later than our Maryland-Michigan game. And they're at home hosting Ohio State. The Buckeyes with an unlikely chance to move into the top 4. Wisconsin, however, with a win, could put themselves in a nice spot for next weekend. And that nice spot would be McClymonds Soccer Complex.
A lot of subs on the pitch for Sasho Soroski. I've said it before, but it's worth repeating. As a foul is called, Zansky goes down. Ivo Serta will boot it away. So Maryland came into this game with their superstar midfielder, Mar Sadic, out with a muscle injury. And then last night, rolling into this morning, Sasho called me this morning, said, "You're not going to believe it. Eric Williamson, Sebastian Elney, and DJ Reeves, who short of Gordon Wild, those 3 are phenomenal forwards. Elney and Williamson with U.S. Youth National Team experience, they're all out with food poisoning."
Not surprising in this situation with the left foot. Gordon Wild standing over the ball. You can bet it's going to frame.
Wild sent in, it's loose, still loose. Yeah, just to clarify, Maryland wrapped up the regular season 2 weeks ago against Wisconsin. They've been sitting with that crown for a couple weeks.
You always depend on your goalkeeper to keep things clean in front of the goal mouth. Evan Lauro does well. This ball is dropping severely as it passes through the wall. And the follow-up, his help from his defense.
Tuaheni able to win it to Woods. 2 minutes and 40 seconds left here in the first. Cody Albrecht. Excellent sliding tackle. Gordon Wild with Morris trying to mark him. Wild. Anderson gives just enough support for Wild to have to check back, and that'll allow Morris to clean it up.
Oh, that's great defensive work.
Look at that footwork from Tuaheni as well.
Tuaheni turns around the defender by dropping the ball behind Albrecht. Nifty player.
Capitula. Now a foul on a Tuaheni and some pushing and shoving as a Tuaheni came in hard on Rosansky, and a Tuaheni will get the yellow card.
Certainly a worthy yellow card. You can see just how big Donovan Pines and Alex Cronali are compared to the opponents.
Now Cronali, a little bit of warning for a Tuaheni. A Tuaheni will come back over to check on him. And there's Billy Stevens. I always get a kick when Billy Stevens is the peacemaker.
Yeah. Have to be reminded in the locker room that Maryland is going to coax a little bit out of them because their egos are hurt right now. Maryland's egos are bruised right now, especially if over the course of the second half they can't find an answer to what Michigan is doing. That more of this chippy stuff is going to happen. So Michigan has just got to stay in the game, stay in the moment, and not allow Maryland to get under their skin.
Ali Jawad, another one of those seniors, has also checked into the game, a player that doesn't see a ton of time, but Shaka Daly getting his seniors in there on senior day. I like it. Billy Stevens into space at Salul near the corner flag. He slips. Boy, it looks like it went off Pines. All right, so a little over 40 seconds remaining. Michigan leads it 2-0, but Chris Doran, you get the feeling there's some more goals coming in this one.
I would agree. I can't tell you exactly which end they're going to come in because, you know, on the one hand, Gordon Wild hasn't exactly been neutralized, but he hasn't gotten a lot of looks. Michigan's doing a great job defensively. On the other hand, it is Gordon Wild and it is Maryland, and they've got plenty in their arsenal when it comes to scoring goals. One of the most productive offenses in the country.
Maryland, the final seconds, trying to sneak one in. They've actually outshot Michigan 5-1 in the last 28 minutes, but don't have a goal to show for it as Francis Atuahenni's got a great assist, and the Michigan Wolverines lead it by a score of 2-0. Robbie Mertz with a goal. Jack Hallahan with a goal. An impressive 45 for the home team, Michigan.
Look, I think we haven't had them back together for a little while. I thought it got better as it progressed, but as you see, we had to make a change due to a little bit of an injury as well. So we're fine. Like I said, our goal is to get one in the first 15 minutes and see where this takes us.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Always a pleasure to talk to Saso Soroski, even behind, gracious with his time. And when he looks straight in the camera and says goals are coming, I believe him.
Yeah. It's hard not to take him at his word.
So Emmanuel Corval, he didn't really bother with the fact that just before we got on, we asked him about the food poisoning and also Amar Sadic being out. No excuses. Roll out the team you got. Try to go for it.
It's a talented group, there's no doubt about it. I think one thing that I would like to see a little less of is the chippiness in the second half. This has the potential to be a really great game no matter how it goes for both of these teams. And I think the break came at just the right moment. The tempers seemed to be a bit inflamed as we wound down the first half of play.
That's a great point, Chris Dorn, because there's a high likelihood, no offense to Rutgers, of course Rutgers, that could be their season actually, playing against Michigan next week at College Park, but if Michigan can beat Rutgers next week, these two teams will be featured again here on the Big Ten Network next Sunday at 4 o'clock.
You can bet that Dan Donegan is taking this one, and it's a scouting game for him for both Michigan on Friday and the potential for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights to get their win and move to Sunday afternoon action if things go their way.
Well, and Rutgers and Michigan tied in Piscataway back on October 7th, 1-1. And we know what Rutgers did to this Maryland team. It looked as if they beat them as Jason Wright scored in the final seconds of regulation, but a foul was called, and then it went to double overtime, and Jake Rosansky had the winner. That was Heartbreak City for Danny Donegan and Rutgers and what has been just a tough season. Here's Francis Atuahenni. He's got that yellow card marked by Adui Adson with Campbell in support. Atuahenni, that's great service.
Wow.
As it's sent back out. Boy, we know Atuahenni can score some goals, but the quality of his service today has been impeccable.
Does a really nice job, and he's finding himself, of course, in those outside spots. Instead of going up the middle and having to muscle against Donovan Hines and Alex Cronali, he's finding a little bit more in the way of opportunity on the flanks.
Cronali, it was a game time decision on whether he would start, as he's been dealing with a leg injury. He stays in there. There's Francis Atuahenni. As we told you before, part of that Right to Dream Academy.
Nice ball down the flank, and Atuahenni going 1v1 with Adui Adson, has to go out on the step over and serves a left-footed ball into Salul, who's making a nice run inside.
So you mentioned the service from Atuahenni. He's got 2 assists today, so 6 goals and 4 assists now for number 10, who, as we said a couple weeks ago, looks like a player that Jim Harbaugh wouldn't mind having. For that other football team in Ann Arbor. There's Gordon Wild, top of the 18, deflected out of bounds. Lars Eckenrode. With Halloween around the corner, not too much scares that man.
He's a tough defender.
Here's Albrecht. Zansky getting it back. Well, Dewey had some. Not quite there.
Little game management from Evan Loro now.
There's Shaka Daly. Speaking of Halloween, he didn't want me to talk about it, but when he first arrived on Ann Arbor, he's got some youngins, and they were out trick-or-treating, having some fun, and kind of running around a little bit. And he did his knee, if you remember, when Michigan made that run at the Big Ten tournament Northwestern. They did it with him on crutches. And it was Michigan State in that final with the wind and everything.
That's right.
Shaka Daly broke on in a big way. So I got to apologize to him. I wasn't supposed to talk about it, but it's Halloween. That's when it happened. Throw in for Maryland. Stevens, the throw in. Hallahan. Chris, it's fascinating watching Hallahan on that right side, because for the most part, that right foot just kind of helps him stand up. I mean, he is using that left foot all the time.
You go back and you think about, we used to watch Brian Masonoff, and the way he depended on his right foot. He actually learned how to strike a ball with the outside of his foot because he didn't want to use his left foot.
Francis Atuahene, 2 assists already. Atuahene's got that yellow card, so he's got to be careful. Atuahene staying with it. He's got Woods behind him. Atuahene again. Atuahene, an absolute handful. Pronali stumbles, but cleaned up by Albrecht. And now Pronali's going to venture forward. Here come the Terps. Full license, down 2 goals. Morris able to knock it away. Morris read that pass from Wild.
Look how Gordon Wild attracts 2 defenders. He's got one standing him up, and then he's got the cover defender coming in, the second defender who's able to clean up after the first tackle. That is really great attentive defending from Michigan in the midfield.
Score 14 goals and 3 assists. You're going to get that kind of attention. Serta, top of his head. Rosansky, neat to Corval. Cody Albrecht. Dewey had some better work here now. Campbell getting the start with the injury to Amar Sejdic. Sasho's not going to make excuses, but you take out Elney, Williamson, Sejdic, and then DJ Reeves, who also has a boatload of assists, 6 of them. That's a lot of offensive firepower you're missing.
Michigan's got to be really careful right now. My sense is that Michigan has maybe they've dampened the fire. The fire's not out, but they've dampened the fire in their spirit just a bit. And they've got to be careful not to convince themselves that they can consistently sit back and allow Maryland possession and just absorb the pressure they're bringing, because Maryland will punish you.
Robbie Mertz scored the first goal. A sophomore and a freshman getting it done here on senior day.
Talked about how moist it was in the area this morning. This field is wet. And Francis Atuahene, I'm not sure if he changed boots at halftime or not, but he has slipped now 3 times in attempts at possession.
Here comes Atuahene tracking back. Jake Rosansky earns the corner kick, and I think it will be Rosansky who takes it. Now remember, he won a national championship with Virginia back in 2014. As Rosansky delivers it in, over to Wild. And Rosansky told us after that game winner against Rutgers, he came to Maryland to try to win another national championship.
It's Riley Woods back there doing the job in the left back slot. He moved back early in this match because Marcelo Borges had to leave the game.
Badgers and Buckeyes are also in the second half, as we'll have some scores for you throughout this second half. So much on the line. Maryland's got the #1 seed, Northwestern 7, Michigan 8, Rutgers 9, but 2 through 6 will depend on the results today. Wild. Cody Albrecht, the transfer from St. John's, who is out there having repaired the ACLs in both knees.
Coach Surofsky looking for a little more connectivity between his front runners in the attacking third. He's getting a little more of that now.
Rosansky played over to Keegan Kelly. Keegan Kelly getting the start. Boy, Evan Laurel, was he frozen or did he just know it was over the crossbar?
I think he saw it rising and was confident. Take another look. Keegan Kelly getting the start. He's a freshman. He's got a goal. Oh, he may have been a bit frozen. You kind of want your arms extended if you're the goalkeeping coach for Michigan. You don't have to touch the... Oh, no, he saw it. No, he saw it.
Yeah. Good call, Chris. He saw it. There's Kelly now, battling with Atua Henny.
Great catch by our BTN crew.
Atua Henny, he played that to himself and got it back. Not too many players can do that.
That's the give and go to yourself. It's rarely used, often poorly executed, but Francis Atua Henny, I really do believe he was trying to work on the side there with Riley Woods and it wasn't going to come, so he went ahead and handled it himself.
Chris, I thought Shaka Daly was spot on when he described how well Atua Henny played in the first half, looking like one of the best players in the country. He was right about that. 2 assists, gobbling up 60, 70 yards at a time.
And how great is it in just 1 year how we've seen Francis Atua Henny learn how to bring his teammates in underneath him. He's not so much convinced anymore that he can run the 60 yards on the dribble and get the job done by himself. He's done a great job with that today and through this season, as a matter of fact.
Andre Morris probably doesn't get enough credit for being steady back there alongside Lars Eckenrode. Kelly. Campbell a little short. Kelly again looking for options. Dewey Atsum is behind him. Campbell. Hard tackle coming in from Morris.
Great stop, Keegan.
Andre Morris doing a terrific job there, timing his tackle. George Campbell, Maryland's Player of the Year.
Wow, cornered, driven right in front of Evan Laurel. There's Atua Henny doing the defensive work, just climbing higher than everybody, but Donovan Pines kept alive, and now Evan Laurel. Let's take a look at some scores around the Big Ten. The final day of the regular season with so much on the line. Seeds 2 through 6 to be exact. Michigan State and Indiana. Swartz for the Hoosiers. Sierakowski for Michigan State. It's Northwestern on a goal from Hobson, and now the Badgers 2-0 over the Buckeyes.
Well, the Badgers are making quick work of this opportunity to position themselves very well for a home game next week. Top 4 seeds will host. And then the following weekend, the semifinals and the final will be held in Indianapolis.
What a touch from Mertz to Atuahene. Cronali got a piece of it. Mertz, good ball in over the head of Hallahan. One back again by Michigan. Robbie Mertz again. Mertz has got the space, deflected there by Pines. So Cronali and then Pines shutting down the talented Mertz. Rosansky stays with it. Going around Michigan players, a foul from Anderson, and that could be a card as well. Tactical foul, but still a card, and he'll get the yellow.
A couple of great bounces here, and we see why Jake Rosansky is such a valuable part of this Maryland team. Tyler Anderson, one of the seniors being celebrated here for Michigan, and on the tackle that was duly noted as a tactical foul and deserving of that yellow.
Rosansky looking for Cronali, making that run. He's telling Rosansky just a little bit higher.
It's actually a nifty ball. It's probably a shame, I'd say, that not one Maryland player couldn't get at the other end of that. I think Cronali just wants that ball higher as he goes to the far post. It dropped too soon for him. Hallahan and Danka on the far side getting tied up. Sully Danka moved to the flank. That was the change that was made after the start of this game, as Andrew Samuels had to exit for Maryland.
Well, when Maryland went to that College Cup back in 2013, Sully Danka was a starter. So was Dewey Atsum. Then Sully Danka went to the bench in 2014, worked his way back a little bit last year, and now he's short of an injury here or there, started every game. It's a great testament to Sully Danka. Other players may have headed out of there after losing their starting job. He stayed with it.
Yeah. Well, he knows he's with a great program, has the opportunity to develop and get a great education at Maryland.
Niedermeyer bombs it long. It's Morris who won the first ball. Atuahene has now slipped again, as Chris Doran pointed that out. Yaman Salul has come on for Shaka Daly, wearing number 20, a true center forward. Back to goal, he's extremely effective at holding up the ball. There's Serta, quick touch to Mertz. Now Serta will get it back as Campbell comes in hard. Samuels, the left back, had to go out in the first half due to injury, so Sasho Sorosky had to adjust that back line yet again. Still plenty of time for Maryland to get into this one, but Michigan looks to be up to the task. Riley Woods, as Michigan also had to adjust as their left back. Marcelo Borges went out early. No sign of him returning.
The Michigan substitution is number 7, Michael Capatula.
So Francis Atuahene, it looked like he needed a break, actually. Even on that last effort, it wasn't quite there, as another one of those seniors on senior day, the redshirt junior, Michael Capatula, will come on for Atua Henning. There's Capitula, a little bit late. There's Keegan Kelly there first. Cody Albrecht. Cronali, we're going to see more of this. A give and go to Cronali, the big man with the soft feet off the back of Eckenrode. Rosansky will clean it up. Jorge Calix off the bench. He'll lose it as Ivo Serta just stepped right in. Yaman Salul, but Dewey Edson was there, but now it's Hallahan. Hallahan waits for it, then on that left. Capitula. Woods. Capitula back to his right. He'll turn. Hard sliding tackle from Rosansky.
Oh, nifty
What
ball.
a flick from Mertz. Yeah, but Salul was offside.
Yeah.
What a flick, huh?
Great thinking. I like what Michigan did there with Capitula making the big run, getting the service. This is Lars Eckenrode with the driven ball and the slip head off of Mertz to Salul, who was in an offside position. I also like with Alex Cronali, the center back for Maryland, making that penetrating run on the dribble and combining with his teammates in the attacking third. You know what happens there, Dean, is that you bring one more body into what's already an organized situation for the Michigan defense, and you're going to unbalance things with that run. A guy coming from midfield who hasn't been accounted for, an opportunity is created there when Cronali creeps up into the attacking third.
Excellent point. Excellent point by my Indiana Soccer Hall of Famer partner, Chris Doran. Here's Rosansky. Rosansky tucking back in. Rosansky has put in a full shift. Albrecht. Campbell. Ooh, that may have been a handball. Morris had his hand up, and I think the assistant referee is going to help out, and this can change the game. He put his hand up. I think it's the right call. I think he knows it. Didn't need to, I don't think, either.
Oh, Andre Morris has his hand extended. And he is pulling it back, but
it's a handball.
yeah, it's a handball. Wild's converted 2 of 4 on penalty kicks.
Looking for goal number 15, and a goal that will, without question, change the dynamic of this game, and he finishes it. 15 goals to lead the Big Ten, and just like that, Maryland pulls within 1.
Remember we talked about how Maryland was starting to gain momentum in the final third and at least connectivity, and Michigan seemed to have been attempting to absorb as much of that pressure as they could. It's one of those situations that happens, though, when you start finding yourself as a defender backing up, absorbing. The handball gets called, and Gordon Wild, with the chance to convert a PK, gets goal number 15 in 2016.
There you see it, 66th minute, 15th goal of the season for Gordon Wild. From Cologne, Germany, spent 1 year at USC Upstate. Word was out that he was looking to go to an elite Division I program. Maryland was still in the College Cup, or the college tournament rather, as they always are. They were playing down at Clemson, and Sasho Swarovski said, just hang on, wait and see what happens here. We'll meet you up in College Park. He did, he loved it. As they say, the rest is history. 15 goals later for Wild. Here's Rosansky. Cronali comes forward. Suledanka has moved out to that left back position with the injury to Andrew Samuels. Samuels, sophomore from Tampa, went out in the first half, and we knew he was banged up going in. Keegan Kelly.
Boy, he's made the most of his time here with that start. Keegan Kelly doing a nice job. It's part of the diamond in the midfield for Maryland.
Yeah, that young man not lacking in confidence.
Yeah, he's been real good. We mentioned he's part of the U17 soccer residency program before he got in here. You talked about his association with Baltimore Celtic Soccer Club. He's got real nice poise over the ball. I like the way he sees the game too.
Maryland with 5 shots this half. Just 2 for Michigan. Great work as always by Jody Fick, the SID for Maryland. Scott Kemps, same work at Michigan. And here in our booth, Johnny on the spot with stats, Nick Pinto. Thank all 3 of those fine people. Throw in here for Woods. Dewey Etzem. Serta. That was not an easy ball to trap, and Serta did it. And that'll allow Woods to go down that left side. Woods staying with it. Woods can cross it. And there's Pines. Woods still with it. There's a lot of great left backs, and he hasn't played left back that much this year, but Riley Woods deserves some all-league attention in some form this his senior year.
So consistent on the left side for Michigan.
And here he is again, Woods, finding the open man. Capitula. Now Ivo Serta. Serta from Chile. Here's Robbie Mertz. Iman Salul coming off those 2 goals. And that 5-1 win over Oakland. Iman Salul. It'll fall. Capitula. Cleaned up by Cronali. This is Michigan's best spell without question here in the second half.
Yeah, Michigan came out a little bit too willing, a little too submissive in this half. They get punished with the goal scored against them, ironically off a handball that's called when Andre Morris is actually directing his defense. And now I think they're starting to wrestle a little bit of this match back, which is good for them. You can't ride out a 2-0 scoreline, obviously. You can't ride out a 2-1 scoreline against Maryland.
Morris, it was Morris with the handball. And of course, Gordon Wild with the finish. Now 3 of 5 from the spot is Wild. Under 20 minutes remaining in this one. Maryland undefeated and #1 in the country. 2 weeks ago, they clinched the regular season title. 2 weeks ago in that victory over John Trask and the Wisconsin Badgers.
Jack Hallahan going to get a little attention. He's been tough, rock solid this afternoon.
Wisconsin leading their game against Ohio State. Talked to John Trask in this week's NCAA College Soccer podcast, and I'll tell you what, he said he thinks he's got a team with this junior class, the German in goal, German in the midfield, that can make a run, can handle the cold weather in the tournament, and he thinks they might have a shot of making it to Houston. Big words from JT.
Well, John is never at a loss for promoting his program, and rightly so. He's got a really nice assembly of talent up there in Madison right now, trying to make the most of their opportunity to solidify a top 4 seed in their game this afternoon against Ohio State. And what a boost it would be for the Badgers.
The scorelines hold, Wisconsin would move to 14. If Michigan State ties Indiana, they also would go to 14. Those 2 teams tied, so then it's the hocus pocus of all the tie-breaking scenarios that we need Chad Hawley here, the fine associate commissioner of the Big Ten, to break it down. Of course, Chad Hawley will be in Indianapolis for the Big Ten tournament. He always is. Sulidanka. Hallahan scored against Penn State on the Big Ten Network and scored today against Maryland on the Big Ten Network.
Again, this is game management from the Wolverines. Not in any sort of rush to get the ball back in play.
Manuel Corval. Wild got just enough on it to allow Calix to drop it over. Connor Smith needs to win that.
Lock it in, lock it in.
You can hear the Maryland coaches telling him to lock it in. Jorge Calix staying with it. And Laurel gets to it before it goes out of bounds.
Well, Michigan has played teams ranked number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4 this season. And they have, in the young history of their program, have never beaten, as you've said, Dean, a number 1 team in the country. They're 0-4, as a matter of fact. Now, they're also the youngest varsity program in the Big Ten. Maryland is the youngest Big Ten team. As things are getting a little untidy over there on the far side.
Yeah, that was Billy Stevens that came flying in again. And the referee didn't appear to really be on top of that there as Sulidanka came up, and Billy Stevens, he headed south. He got out of there. Now Eckenrode will come over to be the peacemaker for Stevens. Watch this here now. Stevens comes in hard.
And Hallahan adds insult to injury. But then he's got to answer to a couple other Maryland players. That's the kind of thing first of all, you can't afford it. If you start getting cards, you're going to impact what goes on next weekend. And secondly, this is potentially a very big moment for Michigan soccer in the program. And you don't want to spoil it by having to go down to 10 men, for example, in the last 15 minutes of this match. On the other hand, I did say that the Irishman and the Long Islander on the right side could be trouble all afternoon for Michigan. And Jack Hallahan and Billy Stevens have proven that.
Michigan gonna try to counter the other way. Yaman Salul. Wow, how is the flag up right there? Boy, and he waves it off. I thought he beat Cronali. Gonna need to take another look at that. And obviously Salul stopped his run knowing the flag was up.
He's on his own half of the field right now. And that's where he's off. Well,
yeah,
he's offside when he crosses the line.
Yeah, he's off.
Yeah.
Great
Good
job.
work.
Yep, excellent job by our crew. Kian Dolan Shahi and our entire Big Ten Network crew getting it done here. You see now Cronali and Pines, Corval, all the big uns starting to come forward now for Maryland. Hallahan flips it around on that left foot. That was a pass with his right, by the way, that last one there to Salou. Ivo Serta. Boom by Evan Laurel. Dewey Atsum. Robbie Mertz knew exactly where Anderson was. So Chris Doran, you felt like Michigan took the very best punch from Maryland and then kind of unlucky, blindsided by the handball, to use a boxing reference, and they got back up and started to play again.
Yeah, they did, but there's still a lot left for Maryland to offer.
They're offering it right now. Jorge Calix. Calix headed out of there by Robbie Mertz, sent back, just absolutely hammered Maryland saying it was deflected. Cody Albrecht with his hands to his head. He may have been turning the other way already to celebrate.
This loose ball, and what a rocket by Albrecht. And it was deflected. I didn't see off whom. Corner kicks awarded. Sakes alive. That's too close for comfort.
Fourth corner for the Terps. Sasso Sorosky said the goals were coming. They've got one. Looking for the equalizer. Wild. Back across. Pines is in. Cleared off the line by Mertz. If Mertz isn't there, it's 2-2.
It's so effortless the way he delivers a ball.
Wild again. Semi-bite. Pines! Saved by Laurel. Rosansky, who has given everything, dropped it over to Pines. Stevens climbing on top of Evan Laurel. Do you think they want to beat a #1 team in the country?
Donovan Pine, 6'5". Alex Cronali, 6'5". These guys are in his targets on set pieces, and they make it really, really tough.
Yaman Salul is down on the ground. 8 saves for Evan Laurel. Perhaps none bigger than this last opportunity as Laurel comes up big.
Gordon Wild with a lovely chip ball. Donovan Pines. And the save by Laurel, fantastic. That's just being a great shot stopper.
How about the play of Rosansky as well? The service from Wild, Rosansky with the mini bike, Pines from point blank, and Evan Laurel keeping this one at 2-1. And we still got 13-15 to go. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Now, Salul's coming off. You have to wonder if Atua Henny's going to come back on. He's been on the bench for 14 minutes. Good enough for a rest.
Oh, absolutely. No-brainer.
The only thought I had was he was getting beaten up so much as he entered the attacking third that perhaps not taking a chance with a second yellow.
He's just too good, though, right? Maryland now with the corner, snapped out of there. Michigan, extra effort. Ivo Scherto came back in, delivered across. Boy, the service quality right now from Maryland, pristine.
You and I called the Indiana-Maryland game when Maryland shoved Donovan Pines and Alex Cronali up into the penalty box in order to draw level with Indiana. Down a goal in Bloomington, and they were relentless with their service and their opportunities at goal before they finally got that game-tying goal. That game ended in a draw.
You mentioned that goal, Pines with the service.
And look at that, Cronali finishing with his feet. Something we didn't expect at that point, but he's got 6 on the season, and that was one of them. One of the best center backs in the country. Absolutely. He does it all, both defensively and in the attack.
Anderson. Now Corval. Here's Wild. Got to be careful. Look at Wild behind the back pass to Oduyatsum, and a foul there from Anderson. They won't call it. Quick throw in. Kalix stuck in the mud there just a little bit with that quick throw. Shots this half, Maryland 10-3 and 4 in the last 3 minutes for the Maryland Terps. Jake Rosansky, I mentioned the shift he's put in. He's had to. I mean, his running mate, Amar Sadic, is out with a muscle injury. On the left side, Eric Williamson out with food poisoning. In front of him, Sebastian Elney out with food poisoning. So Jake Rosansky's had to do all kinds of work.
I feel like at certain moments in the game, he's actually done the work of 2 or 3 players.
Hallahan. Robbie Mertz. Those two have the 2 goals for Michigan. Jorge Calix. Remember, Calix last year got a red card in the regular season game against Michigan, as that one goes out of bounds.
Boy, he was making the turn around defenders.
Looks like Calix will get a break. He looked a little bit spent, a little bit tired as they tried that quick throw in. So Calix and Smith will go out. Now Gordon Wild trying to split Riley Woods and Anderson. Evo Serta held up by Kelly, and then hard tackle coming from Woods. He's got to be careful. Campbell will spread it wide right. Rosansky did not have the speed to go get it.
They were absorbing pressure in the second half, and Michigan eventually had this situation arise where Andre Morris has his hand up, directing his defenders, and handles the ball. Whistle blows, Gordon Wild plants the ball into the net. 2-1 the scoreline now. And, you know, I mean, it's just unlucky for Morris, because he was doing all the right things, not attempting to block the ball. He was attempting to direct his defenders. But that's what happens as you start to back up and absorb pressure from an opponent.
Atuahene looked back over, knew he was offside. Better movement, though, by Atuahene. Shaka Daly, you could tell, wasn't generally pleased with his movement here in the second half. And then with that yellow card, took a break. Cronale. It's Corval. Evo Serta from Chile. Now Hallahan. And here the coach is saying don't foul, and Corval takes down Hallahan. Michigan will take that all day when you consider the pressure they've been under here in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, what has to happen in that situation for Corval, he's got to just apply pressure and disallow Hallahan to move or advance the ball downfield. When he slows that down, then he can have his teammates come in underneath him, and that higher press that Maryland is known for can come to full effect.
That was Shaka Daly, the fifth-year head coach, standing with Tommy McMenemy. Johan Obando, who was a fantastic goalkeeper for Shaka Daly at Providence, is also part of the coaching staff here at Michigan. 7 minutes, 30 seconds remaining in regulation. The Michigan Wolverines trying for the first time in their history to knock off the #1 team in the country. That young man, Robbie Mertz, that baby-faced wonder, number 14, scored the first one. Look at Serta climbing the ladder. With the emergence of Mertz and Serta, Shaka Daly, who's been known to go with 2 holding mids, since that Penn State game, we've seen the transformation to really just 1 holding mid.
Well, he likes that because he's able to get more bodies down the field, and especially at home, an opportunity to show a little more of an attacking posture. When you're playing with 2 holding mids, you've got to have one of them who is dynamic and wants to get forward, but will track back and do the work defensively. If you don't have 2 players who can complement one another in the pocket like that, then you just go ahead and play with the one who wants to stay home and incorporate your midfielders differently ahead of them.
Look at this shot here. Sasho Soroski right behind Gordon Wild, telling him exactly where to put it here, looking for the equalizer.
I'm just going to guess that he's well out of the technical area for the coaches. Just a guess.
Here's Wild with the left foot.
a good ball, Gordon. That's a good ball. It's okay.
You can hear him saying good ball as they were looking for Jake Rosansky. How about what we just saw there? Jake Rosansky was headed over toward the ball. You could hear Sasho say, Jake, leave it. Brought Wild over, standing right behind him, and where did it go?
Where he wanted it.
Right to Jake Rosansky.
You got to remember, an undefeated season is on the line right now for Maryland.
Boy, I just saw Sebastian Elney, and you can even see in his eyes, not looking very well. The sickies, food poisoning, according to Sasho Soroski. I've been there. That is not a good experience, Chris Dorn. Said they were throwing up all night last night. 5 minutes remaining. Corval got a piece of it. Now Michigan essentially trying to hang on and knock off the #1 team in the country. Campbell, Corval still with it. Capitula will just knock it out of bounds.
Boy, defensively, Capitula's got to get in there, put his body between the attacking player and the ball, and he does such a nice job. Very clean, doesn't panic, stays on his feet. Terrific run by Corval. Capitula stays with it, maybe gets the luck of the bounce.
Four minutes left in this one. Sasho Soroski still directing traffic. Stevens will clear it out.
Still got to step at midfield and apply pressure. Michigan can't sit back.
Cronali will head it, and it'll go out of bounds. When you think about Maryland and Sasho Soroski, every four-year player since 1998 has been a part of at least one College Cup team.
Still time to get a couple of shots off for Maryland. Gordon Wild, Jake Rosansky, each with 4 shots. Alex Cronali has parked himself down in the attacking third, waiting for big service.
There's Donovan Pines. Again, Maryland, no Elney, no Williamson, no Sadich, no Reeves. Tua Henny. Saw the goalkeeper off his line, boots it. Lucky right there that Hallahan was able to pick it up, because that may not have settled well with Shaka Daly. It's Hallahan will lose it. There's still a lot of time here.
Locked into the 8th seed for the conference tournament. Not quite the season Michigan had been looking for this year. But this game, a game that means relatively little, means so much to the program.
Now Eckenrode saying that Corval had an elbow. Eckenrode just always in the middle of it.
Eckenrode. But that's what you want from senior leadership. You want that kind of spirit.
Loro. Michigan Wolverines, 1 minute and 52 seconds away from knocking off a #1 team for the first time in their history. Tua Henny pushed off the ball. Does it stay with Michigan? Doesn't. Go to Cody Niedermeyer. Wolverines 0-4 all time versus #1 ranked teams. Maryland has not lost a game all season. Part of the reason they're #1. And now the clock will stop. It's supposed to stop anyway. The referee gave the signal as Hallahan came in. see the referee saying he's going to change the clock, I think, back to like 124 is what I'm going to guess.
Here's the foul in the midfield. Serta grabs Rosansky's jersey. The kick away by Hallahan. Understandable but unnecessary. And there's the reset. You called it, Dino. 124, well done.
Maryland over the ball, Cody Albrecht.
But with two 6'5" targets, that's not the service that you want. Headed into the box.
Zansky. Wild back across. Oh my, it's 2-2. Michigan not able to close the door. O'Dewey Atsum has tied it. And it's 2-2. And the look right there, I think, epitomizes the season for Michigan.
It's not that surprising, right? Maryland is such a potent offensive team. And Gordon Wild, instead of going inside, just drives this ball right where Crinali has wanted it all game. But O'Dewey Atsum in on the finish. He's got his first goal of 2016.
Incredible. Well, you know, we talked about the Michigan seniors, right? So O'Dewey Atsum, a senior for Maryland, making it his senior night.
It looks like Michael Capitula is going to come off.
That's just the third goal ever for O'Dewey Atsum. And you saw him pushing forward quite a bit here in the last 20 minutes. He was not going to go down without a fight to keep that unblemished record intact. And boy, you saw that look right there, just kind of the shake of the face. And look at Sasho Soroski. He looked straight into the camera at halftime and said, this game's far from done. He said it, Chris.
I heard him.
Me
and
too.
I think he guaranteed goals too.
Yeah. Assist number 6 from Gordon Wild is, he's now got 15 goals and 4 assists. So 4 assists for Wild. $18 seconds left. Boy, and you can see the heads hanging here from Michigan, Chris. You can absolutely see it. Tuaheni, 7 seconds remaining. No surprise, overtime soccer on the Big Ten Network. Michigan was a little over 60 seconds away from history and knocking off a #1 team in the country for the first time. But that man with his steel eyes, Chris O'Dewey Atsum, who we just showed you, yeah, right there. Great job by our crew. Look at that. Are you kidding me?
He's a tough player. He was moved to the outside because his coach thought that he will be at the next level a great outside back. He's proven it, especially in the second half. He can get forward and nest very comfortable in front of goal when it comes to scoring. For Michigan, they've got to take this opportunity in between periods to get their fighting composure back and not feel defeated. The game's not over. There's plenty to play.
Best time of the year, folks. I'm telling you, if you like college soccer just a little bit, you're seeing it unfold right here. Michigan had a 2-0 lead. Maryland said, not so fast. We're tied at 2. And we've got overtime soccer from Ann Arbor when we come back on the Big Ten Network. Michigan was 62 seconds away from winning this one, but Chris O'Dewey Atsum gave Maryland their second goal. So we are tied at 2 and headed to overtime. Let's take a look at how we got there, Chris Doran.
Well, 7th minute, and Michigan playing very well with Jack Hallahan combining with Francis Atuaheni. He tries to get the shot off. The deflection lays for Robbie Mertz to finish up. 1-0, the home team celebrating senior day. And doing it with some style in the 19th minute. Still great pressure from Michigan. Hallahan yet again gets involved with this one. 5 touches with the left, and the 6th with the left is the finish. Far post. Cody Niedermeyer was blocked by bodies in front of him. 2-0 going into the locker room in favor of Michigan. When we came out of the locker room, Maryland wrestled some of this match away. How about the handball right there? Great turn by George Campbell, but the handball is a PK to Gordon Wild, who gets goal number 15 on the campaign. 89th minute, Dean. The scrum inside the box. Wild involved again. With the ball served across, Adui Atsum is in there on the run and gets the game-tying goal with 65 seconds to go.
First goal of the season, just the 3rd goal of his career as he was pushing forward in the last 20. A little bit of heartbreak for that man. Shaka Daly, the head coach of Michigan, who was trying to beat the #1 team in the country for the first time in Michigan men's soccer history. And if he's going to do it, he's going to need to do it in overtime now, Chris. Here's the deal in overtime. If you score, you win. They'll play 10 minutes. If they don't have a goal, they'll play 10 more minutes. If after that, they'll call it a tie, but it's sudden victory. Francis Atua Henning. You gotta feel, Chris Dorn, like Uncle Mo was on the favor of the visitors from Maryland.
Yeah. It is certainly coming out of that second half, Dean. But I think Michigan did a really nice job of getting some of the match back. They just didn't create as many chances in the second half as they did in the first. And from an overtime perspective, it's a long haul for Michigan.
Yeah, Maryland unbeaten on the season. They've won 4 times in overtime, including their last game against Delaware, where guess what? They were down 2-0 in that one. Came back, tied it up, and won it 3-2 in overtime, trying to repeat that performance. Cody Albrecht. Jake Rosansky. Cronali. Looking for Wild. Lars Eckenrode. Diving with it. Salul. Back to goal. Ooh, and a turnover. Albrecht to Rosansky. Rosansky will attack. Anderson got a piece. Still alive. Back in. Wild. Will lose it. He will Serta. Now Hallahan. Hallahan, Serta, Salul, and Hallahan. Hallahan. Cody Albrecht. Rosansky, who has gone the entire way he's had to. If you're just joining us, the Maryland Terrapins, your #1 team in the country. As you take a look at Jake Rosansky, he had an overtime winner against Rutgers earlier in the season on the Big Ten Network. But coming in, Amar Sadic, who could win the Big Ten Midfielder of the Year with 6 goals and 9 assists. He's out with a muscle injury. And then last night, their star forwards, Sebastian Elney, Eric Williamson, and G.J. Reeves, all coming down with a stomach bug. Sasho Soroski believes it's food poisoning. That's 4 big-time attacking players not available for Sasho Soroski.
And while there are no Big Ten tournament implications associated with this game, because you've got #1 versus #8 playing, the implications for Maryland going with an undefeated season, if they get out with this score line or a victory, and for Michigan defeating a #1 team for the first time in program history. So those are high watermarks, Dean.
Billy Stevens, the delay, he was cramping, so he'll get waved back on in the next available moment. As Laurel bombs it long. Stevens, there you see him, bottom of your Big Ten Network screen, back in. Yeah, Chris, you're right, though. If Michigan can get by Rutgers, which isn't going to be easy because Rutgers has so much to play for after a disappointing season, but if they can, there's going to be a little bit of consternation in College Park in front of the Crew next Sunday.
It will certainly be inspiration for the Crew.
Yeah, it won't be just Evan Laurel that learns a little bit about his family. I think Lars Eckenrode and Billy Stevens could be in the mix. Monsalul trying to turn. Anderson, good touch, bottom of his foot. Shot coming from Atua Henny. Kept alive by Morris. Salul, swing and a miss. Atua Henny will watch it roll out of bounds. And here comes the Michigan Wolverines. I don't want to mark that guy. Francis Atua Henny.
A handful for sure. Michigan doing exactly what Maryland did to them in the start of the second half, and that is keeping Maryland under pressure. They continue to bend, and you know, a wacky situation unfolds, and that gives you a scoring opportunity. Michigan's got to keep them pinned in down here.
Yeah, they were hoping to, and Atua Henny couldn't get it back to Riley Woods, so now a throw in for Maryland. Let's see if they can pin him in. Anderson. Riley Woods. Boy, the University of Michigan soccer complex was electric, even with 30 to 40 Maryland Terrapin fans here, and you just feel like they took all of that electricity out of them with about 62 seconds remaining in regulation.
Yeah, but that's what good teams do, right? Keep you under pressure.
Final score, Northwestern has knocked off Penn State by a score of 1-0. We think Indiana beat Michigan State, is that right?
That is correct. So it's top four seeds are Maryland, Indiana, Michigan State. And then you've got that Wisconsin match that has to come to closure before we decide what the fourth seed is.
Albrecht. Good work, Chris Doran. Thank you so much. Here's
just doing the math over here, Dino.
Good man, Ronali. Not just a journalism professor. Albrecht. It'll fall. Chris Doran either baking cheesecakes or doing the math. And that same cheesecake we saw from Maryland against Ohio State, some key ingredients in that cheesecake not available today.
No, but this is still, on the whole, this is still a cheesecake ready to be removed from the oven and topped, because it is such a strong program. It has matured so well. Remember in the beginning when Sasha Swarovski told us this season, we had a bunch of guys who, you know, were deliberating about their future, and they all decided they wanted to come back because we were convinced we could do something special. Here's what we're staring at after results today. The Badgers game wrapped up, so they get the 2-1 win.
So the Badgers and Indiana both at 14. Michigan State stays at 13. Penn State stays at 12.
So we know the four teams not traveling next week then. Maryland, Indiana, Wisconsin, and Michigan State.
Yep, well done. Michigan State will end up as the 4 seed, and then it's a matter of the tiebreaker between Wisconsin and Indiana. Of course, they played to a 0-0 tie, so that's what we still got to find out. Campbell. Shot from distances. We're under 2 minutes remaining here in the first overtime.
Those are the standings regardless of the result of this game. So those are your 4 top seeds. The 4-5 game would be Michigan State, Penn State.
Actually, Chad Hawley from the Big Ten telling me Indiana will get the number 2 seed based on the tiebreakers. Wisconsin 3 and Michigan State 4. So pretty good source right there. Is Indiana is the number 2 seed based on goal difference within the conference. As we thank Chad Hawley for that on-the-spot update. So Maryland and Indiana, top 2 seeds. That was the preseason predictions. Campbell will drop it, as we're still trying to find a winner in this one. Each team with just 1 shot in overtime. This after they were shooting some artillery in the second half. Laurel booms it almost to the other 18. Won by Campbell. 10 seconds remaining. Campbell into space. Too strong for Emmanuel Corval, who got the start. Final seconds back across loose, and we'll have a second overtime.
Well, it'll be interesting. Of course, Maryland wants to go forward, so too does Michigan, but you're at a point right now in a game that has no impact on standings. You kind of want to protect what you've got, I think, at this point. Especially since there can't be a lot left in the tank. I don't feel like Michigan has gone as deep with subs as Maryland has.
Jake Rosansky, who won a national championship at Virginia, he scored a big goal in double overtime here on the Big Ten Network against Rutgers.
Oh, this was exceptional. We had this game, we couldn't even believe these teams were going to overtime. That chip in, and the initial shot off of Greshik is saved, and the Rosansky follow through.
Here's a key part of that goal, though. It was Eric Williamson to Sebastian Elney to Rosansky, and Williamson and Elney are not available in this one because of food poisoning. So Jake Rosansky might have to find another way to win it. Sasho Sorosky. Boy, some of the nuggets on him. Maryland has 8 appearances in the College Cup since 1998. That's the most in the country. 15 times Maryland has advanced to the postseason in the last 15 years, as Shaka Daly got his team in the tournament in his first year. That was the year they faced Michigan State in the Big Ten tournament final, won by the Spartans. So much history, though, for Maryland, as Shaka Daly talking about trying to knock off that history. Of course, BTN is your home for the 2016 Big Ten Men's Soccer Tournament. Quarterfinal coverage begins next Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern on BTN and streaming live on BTN to go. Chris Dorn will be in College Park, Ludwig Field, in front of the crew for that one next Sunday at 4 o'clock. Always a good time. Maryland leads the country in attendance this year, even more than UC Santa Barbara.
Man, that's unbelievable. And the Gauchos have got their tremendous following. But Maryland, with this terrific run, this unbeaten streak, even somewhere in the middle part of the season, going 4 or 5 games without even allowing a goal. Going to go to the glasses on this one. They're shutout streak at 4 games, 5 games at one point from late September to mid-October.
Chris Dorn with the readers on. It's a good sight, folks. I like it. Second overtime. Underway. Number 1 Maryland. 2 Michigan Wolverines with 2. They squandered a 2-0 lead. Tronali and Pines, the 2 center backs. As Andrew Samuels, the starting left back, left early in the first half, just yet another injury. Corval. He'll lose it to Anderson. Anderson will keep it on the ground. Salou will hold it up. That's where you got to find a Tuaheni.
Yeah. And a Tuaheni is staying way outside to keep the pressure on a Dewey Atsum.
Corval, what a ball to Wild. Wild. And Morris, look at him. He knows he can't dive in, especially in the 18. Wild. He does dive in there. It'll be a corner kick.
Got to deal with this set piece with Donovan Pines. Cronali coming in. Good stuff by Andre Morris defensively. The one touch by Corval and Wild. The most explosive player in the conference, some would argue in the country this year offensively. Handled nicely by Morris.
6th corner, and Wild will take it. 6th corner for Maryland. Driven in, snapped out of there. That was Keegan Kelly who won it. Back for Wild. Wild goes down. That's a good no call. A brilliant no call. Shoulder to shoulder, referee letting him play here.
This is where Michigan can find some space. Quick transition.
Rosansky, Morris, who you get the feeling the senior, depending on the scoreline, will dread that handball. Fortunate. Kelly drops it over to Rosansky. Now Campbell deflected out of there. That could have hurt a Michigan player down, stretched out, may have hurt himself. Maryland sees it. They're going to take a shot anyway. Not sure about that. In the spirit of the game, Rosansky took the shot right in front of the injured player. That's Robbie Mertz. Gordon Wild, 15 goals and 4 assists. That's Evil Serta. He's come to play today as well. Comes in, the sophomore from Chile, with 1 goal and 2 assists. Robbie Mertz, he scored the first goal for Michigan. You can just see how he stretched out that leg. Boy, the smile from that young man after that first goal. That baby face was brimming. Shaka Daly, you can tell he'd like to see Robbie Mertz stay in the game.
Looks like Ryan Kobakov may get the call.
Now they waved him off. Mertz is going to go right back in.
Ryan Kobakov, happy to be available, but headed back to the warm-ups on the bench.
He also seemed happy to do that as well. There's some pressure in this one. Some history on the line for Michigan. That's really it, isn't it? Well, and Maryland trying to stay undefeated on the season and keep that #1 ranking. Salul comes in hard. Well, you know, the more I think about it, let's shout out to Dan Donegan, because showing that Jake Rosansky winner in double overtime, Rutgers was completely spent. They thought they had the winner right at the end of regulation. So Rutgers or Michigan, you know, are going to be ready for Maryland, and Sasso Sorosky knows that as well. Talking about the quarterfinals next Sunday at 4 o'clock on the Big Ten Network. Wild. Another corner.
Again, I think if there's a way that Michigan can regain possession after this corner kick and transition a little quicker into the attacking half of the field, they may find an opportunity to beat Maryland.
Here's Wild, driven in, and it's in. Did that pass? I think it did. Jake Rosansky was the man who headed it. I think it crossed. They're gonna talk to the assistant referee. Ivo Serto's going over at the moment. Oh, they're gonna use replay, I think, to take a look at it.
There are 3 reasons why an official can go to replay in a Big Ten game this year, and one of them is to determine whether or not a goal has been scored.
Gordon Wild to Jake Rosansky. We just showed you his overtime winner against Rutgers. And it may be another one here. Let's find out. Off the crossbar. Down. Oh, I don't think it passed. It's got to be conclusive, right?
Well, there has to be enough evidence to overturn what was on the field decided, and I don't think a goal was decided to be allowed on the field. But you can bet our BTN crew is working hard to gather each of the angles available, and this is probably going to be the best one.
So it bounces up, then it goes off his arm.
But I think it stays in front of him.
Back down. Sasho Soroski. There's Eric Williamson, one of the SIG players. Shakadeli. Oh, now Sasho Soroski is very upset. Very upset. Certainly from our angles, it was inconclusive, Chris.
From our angle, it reinforces what was decided on the field.
Exactly, which means you can't overturn it.
Exactly. It does not contradict the decision on the field to not allow a goal.
That ball does not appear to be past the line. Now, that one, maybe, as it came off his arm. You see it there?
I do see it, but is the whole ball over the line?
Wow, so it'll stay at 2-2. Great look by our crew here, and it, dare I say, when it came down off his arm, that time it looked like maybe that ball was over the line, but as you said, you've got to be, it's got to be crystal clear, right? To be able to overturn it by virtue of using the replay, and I don't think it was totally crystallized, for lack of a better word.
I agree.
Sasho does not agree.
No. Let's make that really clear.
Laurel. Eckenrode has come forward. Throw in for Michigan. 4 minutes, 5 seconds left in the game, as this is the second overtime. Late season Big Ten soccer at its best as Laurel bombs it. 70 yards, looking for Salou. Kelly finds Wild. This is always dangerous. Gordon Wild takes a shot right to Laurel.
He just glides with the ball at his feet, doesn't he? Loves to drift right from left, or right to left. And he's got superior range for a college player. There's a lot on that ball from 24 yards out.
Salou, excellent move getting around Pines. Thought he was going to head to the end line all the way, but he held up. And that allows Pines to get a piece of it. Evo Serto kept alive. Good work here now from Michigan as Anderson will switch it. Woods. And now a Tuahene. A Tuahene and Wild, two of the best you'll see. Still loose. Campbell, there's a Maryland player down, they'll play on. Morris came in strong on the tackle. Cody Albrecht to Jake Rosansky. Rosansky is in. Rosansky dancing with it. Still loose. Wild can turn with his left. But Evan Laurel was there.
Where Rosansky and Wild have been tremendous here. Into the traffic they go. The shot deflected, but a quick toe poke over to Gordon Wild, who's not able to get all the way around this ball.
11 saves for Laurel, Chris, sorry.
I think that's the most fatigued I've seen Gordon Wild all game, and it hasn't been at all until now.
Campbell has got Wild to his left. Kelly to his right. Kelly staying with it. Back heel. Cleared by Eckenrode. One back by Albrecht. Albrecht could be some last second drama again. Wild staying with it. Wild with his right. Sliding tackle. Stevens, they're calling for a handball. Still loose, and Maryland has won it. Suli Deca with the winner.
Boy, there was so much happening in that little scrum in front of the Michigan goal. Suli Danko with his first goal of the year. It was an heroic performance from Michigan this afternoon, and I'd say equally heroic from Maryland. Though not as long-lasting, because I really felt like Michigan was heroic throughout. Maryland, second half, put it back together and withstood a lot of pressure to this moment.
Your BTN standout performance, Suli Danko with a BTN standout goal.
Albrecht with a lofting ball and left for Wild. This is the scrum in the middle, expecting a whistle, but Suli Danko is just hanging out there waiting.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Suli Danko's first ever goal wearing a Maryland Terrapin jersey. First ever. The senior who started in the 2013 College Cup final, lost his position in 2014, fought for it back, started all year, and his first ever goal is a winner against Michigan.
And you can see the despair on the Michigan players' faces. Robbie Mertz, who got the home team on the board early, with the first goal. Senior day, it's a bit of a letdown.
I like the sportsmanship. It was a physical game. It was a chippy game. And now to see Danka and then even Sasho and the tears there from Robbie Mertz trying to make history, the sophomore with that first goal. You can feel the emotion here today. You can feel it.